Well, you know what's up, everybody.
What up? What up, guys?
We're here to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but obviously there's somebody special we want to talk about. Josh Giddey is in a position where we need to take a look at what he's done over the last little bit for a couple of reasons. First, the individual stats are outstanding, but on top of that, we're talking about some incredible winning basketball.
Yeah, man, absolutely. What Josh is being able to do alongside Shea is truly spectacular. And one of the reasons it's so special is that he's not really assigned to one position. I love it when, we hear people say, him playing the 2 or him playing the 3 or, whatever. But if you look at the course of the game, Josh is, depending on who's on the court, Josh is being required to play 1 through 4. Most games he will play at 1 through 4 at some point in the game. I like this, man. I like the fact that he is a young guy getting to know the game in a very, very deep, passionate way, because when you're bumping up against those big bodies in the NBA, life isn't always the same. And we watched it the other day when he bumped up against Claxton, right? Scored that, and then just let him know that he was a little bit too short.
Too small.
Right? Like, to me, like, this is exactly what's going on. Like, this is what needs to go on. Yes, that was a little banter back and forth because they got in a little pushing match at one point. But I love that fire that Josh is playing with. I love the fact that he has this chip on his shoulder, and it's something simple like a jump ball. And Claxton kind of gave him a little push afterwards, and Josh got on his face like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like that intensity.
Yeah.
He's a second-year player, and he's out there playing like a veteran and acting like a veteran. It's great shit.
For sure, man. So we went ahead and put together a highlight package of all of Josh Giddey's buckets and assists over the last 4 games. We put them in order of how they went. Things may not be perfect, but we hope that you guys like watching what we're seeing right now. So let's talk about what he's done over the last 10 games, and then we'll talk a little bit more specifically about this road trip. So 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 stock, which is a steal or a block per game. And on top of that, his free throw percentage has been outstanding. Over the last 4 games, he's hit 22 out of 23 free throws, which is incredible. He's gotten to the free throw line 23 times. So that's been a focus for him. But specifically, us being able to win 3 of these 4 last games has been because of a lot of players playing well. But the aggression that Josh embodies from start to finish, you see plays from the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, but especially in the fourth quarter, it's time for winning. This guy is making big-time plays. We've seen players do things, empty stats. These are not empty stats. These are winning stats.
Yeah, man. And just looking at his 10 games and looking at his rebounds, I mean, it started off in Charlotte. He got 10 rebounds in Charlotte. Philadelphia 9, Boston 5, Orlando 5, Washington 6, Dallas 5, 15 in Miami, 4 in Philadelphia, 10 in Chicago, and 9 in Brooklyn, guys. Like, he is rebounding at a very high level. And we've talked about it before, is when he gets that rebound, he is creating a fast break no matter where he's at. There's moments that he takes his time getting up the court, but those are what I would consider planned, take your time up the court. We sprint at a very high level, so there's moments that you take the ball and you just kind of let the game flow. You go slowly up the court, you let everybody catch their wind, and then you attack. But what Josh is doing and getting that ball up the court is so crucial with everything that's going on. You look at his field goal percentage, but really what I want to look at and focus on is his field goal attempts. In the last 10 games, the only game that he shot under 15 field goals was in that Dallas game. He shot 12 field goals. This is what we need him to do. We need him taking 15-plus shots a game because he's shooting at over 50% in field goals in this last 10 games. We need him taking these shots because they're not like the typical shot. They're not like a 28-foot shot. You know what I'm saying? They're not like a half-court, buzzer beater shots. These are, like Mark said, quality shots. He's getting to the free throw line as well during this time, but he's getting to the middle of the lane. He's pulling up. He's fading back. He's getting to the hole and scoring on centers. Like, this is what we need from him. His capabilities is off the charts, and we haven't even really got into his assist or his 3-point shot right now, because I'm looking at the things that he's doing, just as simple as taking as many shots as he has And this is a huge, progression thing that I circle and I say, we need him doing more of this. We need him taking, 15, 18, 21 shots in the game. We need him doing this because if you're looking at how he's growing and how he has grown from last year to this point, it's massive. And if you're looking at it saying, can Josh average 20 plus points a game, average eight rebounds and 9 assists in the season during his third year? Yeah, I believe he could do that. I believe those are numbers that he can get to very easily because the progression that we've seen this year alone is far above anything that I was hoping for him, thus far this season.
Yeah, and one thing that seems really encouraging is that this play that he's developed, his style, and what's really working for him is going to be repeatable. And earlier we saw him really light it up from behind the arc, but we kind of knew that that would have a limit. Like, he wasn't just going to automatically fix that. He is shooting better, but he's had a little bit of regression to the mean. And at this point, we're seeing him really develop the other levels of his game. So he really does appear to be a 3-level scorer. He can turn that runner into a little bit a higher consistency, but in the end, it's working for him right now. He's getting to the basket. He's getting to the free throw line. He's knocking down the shot when he's open on the perimeter, and he's making sure that they have to guard him. So they're not leaving him open nearly as much, which is working well for him. So let's talk about the last 4 games, which we want to hyper focus on because, like, we've had trouble in the past with this team, going on the road, and this East Coast trip was supposed to be a very difficult thing. And we've seen Shea play at a high level, but we've seen Shea play at a high level and us lose. And we've seen Josh play at a high level and us lose. But to have them both playing at a high level and for us to win at the same time, it says to us that we're on to something here. So for Josh, 23 points basically over the road trip, 9.5 rebounds, and 8.5 assists on this road trip. Okay, so 23 points.
Are you talking the 4 games? So Miami, Philly, Chicago, and Brooklyn, right?
Right, those 4 games.
Yeah.
Okay. So if he says he's doing 23, 10, and 9, just for fun, because we're going to round up because we got nothing to lose, is that an all-star? If that's that's his season, 23, 10, and 9, are we talking about an all-star?
Yeah. I mean, anybody that has those round numbers like that, man, if you're not an all-star, then the NBA is fucked. Okay. I mean, the NBA is fucked if you're not an all-star, if you're averaging 23, 10, and 9. I mean, like, come on. Like, this is what every NBA stat muncher out there wants, is somebody producing this type of stats early in their career. I mean, think about how much better Russ would have been if he was creating the stats that he did 5 years prior to when he did. Like, that's what we're talking about Josh Giddey doing here, is that he's going to put up Russ-like numbers early in his career. Like, this is insane to me. Like, as far as putting a cap on him, like, if he's going to be putting out there 23, 10, and 9, then he's an all-NBA, first or second team. Make your pick. Like, what I'm sick and tired of the NBA right now, though, is still this idea of power forwards or forwards and guards. You know what I'm saying? Like, They need to have utility players, because how do you sum up Josh's play style? Do you call it a small forward, power forward, guard, point guard, shooting guard, defender? Like, he does so much. Like there needs to be a new definition to what an NBA guard is, or what an NBA forward is, because Josh is by himself rewriting that.
Well, it reminds me, his stats, the way they look, they remind me a lot of LeBron, especially when he was young. And then people were like, well, point forward, right? Now, obviously, when you're looking at the scoring, people always point at that. But when you just look at rebounds and assists, that's people will agree with that. Like, he's got great passing, great vision, and he's a great rebounder, and he's got great size. And in a way, he's more point guard than forward. And that's one thing I'd say with LeBron. He's shown. But at this point, the scoring, everybody wonders, can he put up 28 a night, right? Because that's the number. It's plus or minus a point. But if you're going to win an MVP, if you're going to be in the conversation for, top 5 player in the league, you got to be putting up that 28 a night range. And yeah, like, that level of his game is a couple years away. We assume, although every time we say that about him on anything, he surprises us. But what is apparent to me is the same way that last year SGA began his campaign for this year's All-Star game after the All-Star break, right? He came back and Shea started averaging 30. He started playing incredible. People who were paying attention, which was not a lot of people, but they noticed. And then he came into the season and the smart people were talking about him, like, watch out. He's been playing great for a while. And then he exceeded expectations.
You're right.
So for Giddey, his campaign for the All-Star break, we already heard Shea lobby for him, but we know, like, we'll be lucky to get one player on this team, right? So 2 is not going to happen, but it could. You never know. That Australia vote could pull through. But
come on, guys. You know you got to be voting for Josh right now.
Right,
Give him that vote.
I know. But in the end, what we're talking about is we're talking about next year's All-Star game. Josh Giddey shows up and not in the Rising Star game. That's what we're talking about. If he can stay healthy, one, and continue this level of play, understanding that teams are going to increase the level of defense and pressure that he gets. So he's going to have to play better than he is to play at this level to keep these stats up. So his improvement has to come, and we anticipate it because we've seen him get better. We got to stay healthy. There's no way you can do any of this without staying healthy. But bro, I already feel like we're where we were last year with Shea, with Josh. Like, everybody, they're not the same player. They're not scoring the same way, but get used to it. He's a star. He is, bro, I'm ready to say it, dude. He's a superstar. And people were like, oh, well, hold off. Like, I was ready to say it with Russ before other people were, right? And I'm ready to say it with Josh, like, he's a superstar. The thing is, he needs a little bit more polish before everybody else will be saying it. But what we saw was superstar play, and you got to be able to win these games, and he was leading us to wins, bro.
Yeah. And anybody that's out there that's saying that Josh will not be able to average 30 points a game or even 27 plus points a game. And
suck it.
Yeah, like, listen, let's just go over one of our favorite players, Shea. Averaged his first season 11 points a game. Second season 19 points, very similar yet again to what Josh is doing in this campaign. His third season 23.7. Then last year he leveled out at 24.5. It was like, okay, is he going to be able to take it to the next point, to the next step? And it's every single player. They come to this. I mean, think about James Harden. You get to that end of that fourth year, and then it's like, I need to make it to that next step. Can I make it to that next step? We've watched James Harden do that next step with Houston, but I'm sitting here looking at what Josh is doing. I'm saying, I think that Josh's third year, he can average 24 points a game. I think Josh's fourth year, I think he can average 24, 25, 26 points a game for the second year in a row. But that fifth year, I think that's when he makes a real run for that MVP trophy, bro. And I really think that this is the type of caliber team that we have, is that when you have a player like Shea leading this team, and as he is guiding this team to everybody else becoming, superstars there. If you look at the way that Shea's led this team so far, and if you think about 5 years from now, or even 4 years from now, I think it's safe to say in 3 years, Josh Giddey is going to be that type of player that we're all going to sit back and say, how in the world did we get both of these guys on the team? How in the world do we have these guys together playing like they do? Because they don't always work together perfectly. But guess what? They have the time to figure it out. And that's why I keep going back and looking at Shea's numbers and saying, can Josh consistently put this up? Can he consistently do this? Yes, because guess what? Oklahoma City Thunder have given us a layout of how they help players grow in the system. And to say that Josh is never going to be that player that averages 30 points to me is ridiculous, because to me what he's showing is that he has that heart, he has the mentality, he has what it takes to be an NBA superstar. And I love it, man. Like, to me, I love it. He literally, I think, in my opinion, Ben Simmons was a star and a superstar in his own right for a small amount of time. But there has not been another player of the caliber that Josh plays. I mean, people can say Dyson Daniels, and I think the young man is amazing, but I look at Josh and I say, that young man is the future of Australian basketball. And that's what excites me, is because we get to have these talks with all of you guys. And when I say all of you guys, it is our massively huge fan base in Australia. And every single time that we get off a podcast and we post it, we get back on and we see 15, 20, 30 comments. It's insane, guys. We cannot say thank you enough. Our podcast on YouTube has grown substantially. And it's just one of those things where, we say thank you every time because it really does mean a lot to Mark and I. And we get to watch Josh grow into the man that we know he's going to be in the league. And that's what's exciting is because you guys are all along with us.
Yeah, man, you make this ride worth it. That's for sure. And we appreciate you guys so much. We went ahead and asked you guys a couple of questions, right? First question, are we about to make the playoffs this year? All right, so we had 228 people answer this question. 55% said yes. 42% said, does the play-in count? And 3% said no. Don't do the math. I think they're all there. But anyway, guys, that's what we're talking about, guys. And we also posted a picture of Russ doing the too small and Josh Giddey doing the too small. And we had who did it better, who wore it better, if you will. And Josh had 83% of the vote. And we ended up with 69, our favorite number of votes. So great job there, guys. We definitely appreciate it. We're going to put up a new question. All right, David, I'm going to ask you this question.
All right, man, please do.
You don't necessarily have to answer it. You can just vote on the poll if you want.
Oh, dude,
okay?
I'm going to answer it.
All right, so here we go. What year will Josh Giddey average a triple-double?
Oh, man, that's year 4 or year 5?
All right. Year 4 or year 5? I'm going to give you guys some
at the
questions.
Projections of the way the Thunder raise their young, right? The Thunder raise their young, right? Depending on how the Thunder, and looking at how the Thunder have raised Shea, I think there's no, in my mind, developing Josh Giddey into the legit triple threat that we know he's going to be. Yeah, man.
So
that's happening.
30-point average, triple-double average. I mean,
dude,
are we off our rockers?
Dude, listen. When I went out there and I told, if you go back and I try to respond to everybody on YouTube that talks to us, and to me, I use words like Josh is the future of the NBA. That's not something I use lightly. I'm not just throwing that shit against the wall to see how it sticks. I truly fucking believe Josh is the future of the NBA, because if you don't have the skill sets that Josh has, you don't have a place on the team. Because what the Oklahoma City Thunder is doing is redefining what an NBA organization, or how an NBA organization should be run. Period.
Well, I think that you're right. I think we'll go ahead and put that information up. We'll see if we can, get some more votes on this. If you guys want to vote on whether or not we're going to make the playoffs, I look at it, I'm like, as much as you want to look at play-in or playoffs, right? We're talking about 97% of the people out there think that we're going to end up the season a little bit better than we are right now, because we're sitting in that 11th spot, half a game outside that 10th. Full playoffs. It could be in the cards, the right run, the right teams losing, all this type of stuff. But
I like it.
Maybe just
I'm
play
all for
in. We hear some people's wet dreams when they talk about, hey, we get in the play-in against the Clippers and we beat the Clippers and then we get their pick, yada, yada, yada. I like to think about us going on a run and getting into that top 6 and not having to be in the playoffs. Play-in. Look, obviously, we're in a little bit of fantasy land, but deep down we know that you guys love the Thunder and you are living the dream right now too. So we want to live it with you guys.
Yeah, and just remember, dude, I'm going to tell these guys a little bit about myself. I love a lot of things in life. A lot of things make me passionate. But I'll tell you 3 things that I really, really love, man. Pussy, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and fuzzy things. You see this thing I'm wearing, man? This is so fucking fuzzy. I could just rub this all goddamn day, bro. Oh, it makes me happy.
Dude, I'm glad.
Back to you.
I'm glad, dude. And I think deep down, you're going to really enjoy getting out there to Australia and...
Fuck yeah, dude. 2024, baby. Australia.
Heading some koalas or something. All right, guys. We appreciate you. We're going to be back after the game, upcoming game against the Pacers. It's exciting, man. I'm excited to see Dort and Mathurin get to play against each other and all that goes with that. But we definitely appreciate you guys. We definitely take the time to read every comment. We talk about it. And we're excited about where we're going. And we're excited you're on for the ride. So thanks for joining us. And we will see you soon.